Okay, look, I'm on my way into the office and I'm going to keep this quick because this week is incredibly busy. I've just got back from a 10-day holiday. I'm feeling really good, but that means that my to-do list and my inbox this week is crazy. And so for the first time in a few months, I want to take you along with me because I've been terrible with content this year. And so if you're somebody who viewed this stuff in the past, who listened to the podcast, who's wondering where I am or what's going on in life, you're going to get your answers in this episode. There's lots of exciting stuff to update you on, but on that point, because there is so much to show you, I think that this week will be a really interesting one for you to get a little bit behind the scenes of what life looks like now, the current business patter, the new business that I haven't told you about yet because there is a second business in the mix right now, all of the content, the podcast, the guests that I'm going to be recording with. There's lots going on this week. And so I hope for this video, rather than being one of those exciting all over the place vlogs, to just be a video where I take you behind the scenes and show you very simply what I'm doing, what I'm thinking, where I'm at. And so that's the plan for this week. I've got lots to do on my laptop before the train gets to the office. So that is the plan for the next 45 minutes or so. And then later on today, we'll have a little sit down, we'll catch up, and I'm going to take you with me and think out loud for the whole of this week on what's going on. See you soon. So it's actually only a few hours after we last spoke, and the last few hours have been totally unexpected. So I got to the office, having been away, bear in mind, for 10, 11 days. Last time I was in the office was 11 days ago. I get there. And 2 hours after getting there, I look out the window, just my view from my window, and the building opposite is like engulfed in flames. So we are on a kind of business park somewhere near Cardiff, and there are 3 buildings that are all owned by the same landlord, all operated by the same team. I'm very friendly with everybody in the team, the receptionists, the maintenance people, and the buildings are also all identical. They're these like L-shaped buildings, offices down 12 corridors, solar panels on the roof. And I'll talk about the new business later, so this will all make sense, but we have offices now in 2 of the 3 buildings. The one where Patter is and has been for the past 8 years, the one that we've just signed a lease on in the 2nd building, and then there's the 3rd building, which is the one that it just burned down in front of us, which was really weird because I was saying to people when I was there, and this sounds strange to say, but I genuinely felt a bit emotional because I think there are several things going on. Firstly, you know, the receptionist team there, the maintenance people, the people who were in the building at the time, including the receptionist of that building, who it sounds like was very bravely staying in the building to make sure everybody got out. Thankfully, they're okay, everybody's okay, but you kind of realize in those moments that people like receptionists train for fire safety, thinking they'll never need it, and then suddenly like that, their instincts kick in and they do the right thing and they help everybody. But it's scary to watch how quickly the flames engulfed that building, how quickly the roof fell in, how quickly entire bus-sized chunks of metal were just falling to the floor. To think that, you know, that thankfully everyone was fine, but it just makes you realize how real these things are when they actually happen. Because, you know, since school we all do fire drills and we all hear the fire alarm when we're in our office or our workplace. We think, fucking hell, it's another drill, you know, and sometimes it's not, and it's good that everybody's out safe. But then also there's other reasons why it feels more emotional than I would expect. We've been in that office for probably about 8.5 years, I think. I've seen that building opposite us, which is identical to our building. They sit like this. You see it out of my window every day for 8 years. You know, I know some of the businesses in that building. We knew the previous landlord of these buildings, who his name was Phil. Before he sold it, he built these buildings. And then I was chatting to a tenant of the building that burned down, and you know, the fire mustn't have been more than 5 minutes old at that point. And he's saying, oh, it might be okay because, you know, my business is actually based just to the left of where these flames are. We had to leave our laptops and like our whole business is in there. And then, of course, inevitably, 5 minutes later, the roof had caved in. All of his possessions, all of his business's possessions, even silly things, right? Like if any files weren't backed up that were on all of their laptops, gone like that. And so I think the reason it I mean, look, you see a giant building that you've seen every day of your life for 8 years on fire, you're going to feel a certain way anyway. But I think a reason why it felt so scary, if that's the word, is it was entirely random, right? It's a normal Monday morning. And then I look out the window and there's a giant fire that seemingly started out of nowhere. Pure total randomness. Everybody having a normal day. People trying their best to run their businesses. Even the business that owns these buildings, the landlord, right? All the staff there doing their jobs. Total normal day. And then suddenly something happens and lots of those small businesses are just going to be in a really, really difficult spot with or without insurance, right? Either way, like weeks, possibly even months of their lives and business operations have just been disrupted. An entire building on our business park, the staff of which I know personally, now doesn't exist. It's gone. Like there's the outer walls and that's about it. All the windows are gone. The roof is gone. The outer panels and gutters. Just a strange few hours. I don't really know what the point of this clip is, other than to say I managed to have a productive 2 and a bit hours when I got to the office, and now I'm back in Cardiff for an apartment viewing just opposite the current apartment. I'm viewing another apartment. I'll tell you about that another day, I guess. Still got a lot I need to do today, so I'm going to go to the apartment, the current apartment, put my laptop down, go across the road, view the new apartment, then go back home, do some work, and then later tonight I need to go back to the office now because our fiber internet runs through the building that has just burned down, which means that both of the businesses, including the one that I will tell you about, I promise, it just now doesn't feel like the optimal time in the sequence of events to tell you, both of the businesses as of right now have no internet, so we need to go back and work out how to sort some sort of temporary solution for internet, because I imagine it's going to be quite a while until that's back up and running. And then even silly things like for the new business, which is a direct to consumer website, there was a lot of posts going out today, which is collected by Royal Mail because it's a physical product business, and the entire estate is now closed because there's something insane like 18 fire engines there. So Royal Mail can't collect. There's just lots of things going on, and I have a busy day, and I'd like to do a run tonight and get back on with that. So yeah, unusual update. Not really sure what I'm here to tell you, other than today has so far not gone to plan. It's very sad that that building has burned down. It was impressive to see the staff of the building doing their job in the way they did so quickly. It's a shame what has happened to the small businesses, but hopefully they're all okay. And I'm sure it's something you'll hear me talk about more, because that felt quite significant. But anyway, I'm going to go and put my laptop in the apartment. I've got about 25 minutes until this viewing. Do the viewing, do some work, go back to the office, and I might catch up with you tonight. I might talk to you tomorrow. I don't know, but I got a lot to do, and that was not on my bingo card for my first day back in the office in 11 or 12 days. So there we go. See you later on. Okay, it's Tuesday. It's 4:30. I'm in the office, and the past 30 hours have just been really weird. Obviously, there was the fire yesterday, and then as a direct result of that, there is no internet in our buildings. So lots of what we do, both with the agency and the other business that I'm just about to tell you about, relies on the internet. So I had a big, long to-do list of things to do today that was planned when I was away on like here's an amazing return week of lots I can get done when I'm back from this trip. And yesterday, obviously, it didn't go to plan. Today has not gone to plan. I've been doing what I can and what I need to, but I am just about finished with what I can do for the day. So I thought I'd jump on and tell you about the new business, because we've owned this business since the end of February, beginning of March, I want to say. And the business is called So Direct. And for those of you who are new here, hello. I've run a business called Patter for the best part of a decade. Patter is a business growth consultancy. We started off life as a marketing agency and have kind of shifted to help clients solve their biggest digital problems. We're kind of like the men in grey suits who, when a business has a problem which is too urgent to wait for internal hires, it's too complicated to rely on an agency, or at least a traditional agency, and it's too hands-on to give it to just like a random outsourced team who then disappear. We kind of fill that gap. We take a big problem that a business is facing, we find the solution, we implement the solution, we stick around after the fact to make sure that solution actually delivers the change it's supposed to. And that looks like strategy, it looks like marketing, it looks like kind of delivery stuff all rolled into one. And I tell you that as important context because we originally had SoDirect as a client of ours, and through a big, long, complicated series of events, the parent company of SoDirect in the US entered Chapter 11 bankruptcy, as you or I would know it. And then the UK part of the business was put into administration. Now, the UK business had both like a wholesale wing selling sewing patterns, which we'll come back to what they are in a minute because nobody seems to know, and then a direct consumer e-commerce part selling sewing patterns online to consumers. Now, the part of that puzzle that we took care of when SoDirect was a client of ours was the website and the marketing. And so when the administrators were selling off the assets, we made the decision, it's more complicated than this, there was more to it, but I'll speed up the story. We made the decision to attempt to purchase the website side of the business, and that's exactly what we did. And so now we are probably the most established sewing pattern retailer online in the UK, with a big customer list, lots of brand loyalty, and many amazing customers. And I think it's important for you to understand what a sewing pattern is, because I'll be honest, before we worked with SoDirect, I had no idea. When I speak to people about this business out and about, they have no idea. A sewing pattern is a series of big sheets of paper, and on these sheets of paper are shapes. And a sewist, somebody who sews their own clothes as a hobby, takes these patterns, they lay on top or below the pattern a piece of fabric. They then cut around the pattern to create pieces of fabric in certain shapes. And then once those pieces of fabric in certain shapes are sewn together, they create a garment. That might be a dress or some trousers or a top or whatever it might be. And there are thousands and thousands and thousands of patterns out there from both the big brands and the indie brands, and we're building SoDirect into the destination for all of those patterns. So a pattern shopper can come along and find the exact pattern they want for the exact garment they want to make, and then they can turn that into a project where they order the pattern from us, either physical paper patterns, PDF digital patterns, or, and this is something new that we've been building in the past few months that we launched very quickly, the ability to take a PDF digital pattern and then we print it for them on A0 paper using that giant printer over there that you'll be seeing more of later in the week, and then we post it to them. Now, there is a huge amount of backstory to tell you about this business. There's a huge amount of exciting news coming soon with this business, and I want to make these videos more often, and in doing so I want to show you more of the business. But for now, I think this week, let me just introduce you to the idea of the fact that there's now a second business in the mix, because it would take hours to tell you everything. So what I'd rather do is just kind of gradually, organically show you as things happen. So what's happening currently? For the past few months, whilst we've been getting things up and running, we have been sharing the Patter office, which was lovely and nice and really comfortable until a few months ago, with SoDirect. So we've taken half our office and turned it into a print-on-demand setup, a pick, pack and post thing, storage, just all the stuff that you need to run a physical product e-commerce business. That's over that side of the office. And then Patter is on this side of the office. This weekend, we are moving the SoDirect stuff from this building across to the other building. Remember, there are 3 buildings on this site. Fortunately, and I feel very lucky for this, the one building that caught fire yesterday that is severely damaged and has no roof or first floor now is not the building we're moving into. So we're moving into another building this weekend where we're going to have the printer and all of the print on demand, pick, pack and post stuff. We're going to have eventually, although it needs to be custom made, lots of racking and shelving to store these products, to pick them, to post them and so on. So that's happening this weekend, and then it's very likely that in the near future, perhaps in the next video you see on this channel, I'll be viewing a unit. There is a much larger unit there. It's very likely we're going to need to take on in order to meet the demand of the number of products that we need to be stocking in the coming 4 to 5 months. So this is a business with lots of moving parts, and we have moved incredibly fast from the day we signed the contract to purchase the assets of this business through till today. We've done a huge amount. We have rebuilt really core parts of the user journey and the purchase flow on the website. We have onboarded new brands. We have signed contracts with brands who now supply us patterns from all around the world. We have cut deals with providers like our email provider to help us get up and running with mailing the data. We've done some intellectual property stuff. We've launched the print on demand system. A custom print and post system has been built. We have found the new premises to move into. We have found the next potential premises that we need to grow into soon. What am I forgetting? We've created the ability for customers to upload their own PDF pattern that they purchased elsewhere, have that printed on A0 and sent to them. I'm sure I'm forgetting lots of things that we've done, but it's been incredibly busy. And I tell you that for 2 reasons. Number one, to demonstrate why I just can't tell you everything today. Is too much to tell you to bring you up to speed on. Maybe that'll be a podcast one day. But number two is to explain where I've been, because I feel like I haven't slept since, well, this year. This year's been so busy. There was the kind of momentum of the beginning of the year, and then the opportunity to acquire this business came about, and then we were working through the stages of acquiring it, and then it was the Paris talk, and then I announced very quietly on stage in front of 450 people at Disneyland that we had acquired a business, but I didn't say what it was at that point because we weren't ready to speak about it. And then since then, there's been so much going on to bring the business to the point where it is today and to lay the foundations for where it's going tomorrow, all the while taking incredible care to make sure that Patter's clients are getting the exact same level of service that they expect and the exact same outcomes that they deserve. Running those two things side by side means that the time for content like this, for the podcast, for booking guests, for doing all of the optional stuff has fallen away. Lots of what I'm doing now, I'm back from that 10 days of escaping reality and just chilling, is now that the foundations are in place for some of those things we just spoke about, building on top of that for things like sorting out my fitness, because I'm 30 and I'm not getting any younger. And I kind of hated taking my top off on that holiday. And I had plenty of notice that it was coming, plenty of time to eat the right foods, to cut down on calories, to lift some weights, to do more steps. And because I was so busy, I did none of it. So I'm really trying to nail that in this week, well, from this week for the rest of like life, right? Things like the podcast. In front of me here are 2 books from 2 authors who I'll be recording with in London very soon for the podcast. And on top of these, there are lots of other people I'm speaking to in my inbox, bringing back the podcast in the second half of the year in the way that it was a few years ago. So not sporadic odd episodes, but actually weekly episodes, guest episodes every 2 weeks, telling the story of learning out loud in my 30s, sharing the life lessons I wish I knew sooner. Today has been weird and unproductive, but all of the print on demand stuff was done by the team here earlier today. We had to botch together a solution to make all the printers and download stuff and postage stuff work with very little internet. That's all sorted. I am driving to see my mum back in Corby tonight in a courtesy car. If you're wondering why I'm holding a random car key in a courtesy car, because why not put mileage on Mercedes courtesy car rather than my own? So tonight I'm going to drive to Corby, spend a couple of nights in Corby, work from home for the next 2 days with internet because that's what I need, and then I'm back here Thursday night. A day in the office on my own on Friday, which means I'll be taking care of lots of different stuff. Then Saturday, the plan is to move the So Direct stuff across that office. Sunday, I don't know what that looks like yet. So I'm going to finish off the bits I need to do for today, plan tomorrow, drive home, and I will catch up with you tomorrow, where hopefully we have a normal and a productive day. See you then. It's Wednesday at 7 p.m. and God, I've had a busy day. The work that I planned to do Monday and Tuesday, plus the beginning part of the plan I had for Wednesday, has basically been rolled into today. So I had a few calls this morning and then worked from a random Starbucks here in Northamptonshire from like 10 a.m. until about 5. Went back home, worked a little bit more, and I'll be honest, I haven't finished my whole to-do list today because it was, like I say, 3 days worth of work in one. So I've rolled a few bits into tomorrow, and hopefully by the end of tomorrow, when I get back in the car to drive back to Wales, I'll be back on track. I know I said all this yesterday, but such a weird start to this week, given that this week was going to be a reset of sorts. And it still is a reset of sorts. But the sense of momentum just being sucked out of the week because of the fire and the fallout from that, and then the no internet, and then the, no pun intended, firefighting as a result of that to keep both the businesses operational when they're both very internet based with no internet. And then just things are naturally busy right now anyway. Running Patter, lots of what we do is marketing and results driven. That's always intense. That's always busy. You know, businesses who rely on us for sales or leads or revenue or growth, they don't have a day off. That business doesn't have a day off. And so it's just been a lot these last couple of days. I don't mean for this video to be sad and depressive. Actually, I feel good. I'm really optimistic about what's to come this year, but there's just a lot going on, and I'm in somewhat of a reflective mood because tomorrow is the halfway birthday of it's the midpoint between my birthdays, right? It's like 6 months out from my birthday in each direction. And if you've watched any of my content previously, you'll know that I treat my birthday, which is the 11th of December, as the kind of beginning and end of each year of my progress, because it's so close towards the end of the actual calendar year, and it's a nice period after the birthday to then kind of slowly wind down and chill for Christmas and the New Year and so on. So kind of halfway through my year. And it's been an unexpected year. It's been an exciting year so far. I have been incredibly busy and productive in doing things that are moving life forward. This car just crashed. Hold on. I don't know if that car didn't just reverse into the car next to it. God, this video has it all, doesn't it? Anyway, not my problem. What can I do? He's left. I don't even know where I was now. This year has had a lot of action, a lot of doing, a lot of good stuff. But against the measurements of my goals for this year, which were dreamt up in a more considered state before things got very busy, right? At the end of the year, when I escape and chill and make a list of the things I'd like to achieve this year, as busy and productive as I have been, the list of things I would like to achieve this year is basically not started. And you might be the same, right? We have all these amazing intentions at the beginning of the year, and then the year gets started and life happens and you get to a certain point. And most people, myself included, most years, just say, you know what, I'm not going to be able to do these things, so I'll start again next year. And I would hate to do that this year, not least because for as good as this year has been so far, one of the things I have done, there are some really important goals on that list of things I'd like to get done. And so I'm using this kind of period that we're in right now, the next week or two, to revisit how I begin moving towards some of those goals. Some of them are just not in play anymore, either because I've just moved on in life from certain things, or there just simply aren't enough hours in the day to get done those year-long goals in the next 6 months. But others I think are still achievable if I were to just be a bit more focused, or if I were to lean in a bit more to the fact that, like I spoke about yesterday, I have a really good foundation in life right now. Like, I'm 30 and I don't have as much financial stress as before, and I am healthy, and there are businesses that are cash generating, and I am better connected, and all these things, right? There's so much going for me right now. The locational freedom I have to be able to work from anywhere. There's so much going for me, and it's such a high opportunity window between the ages of like 30 and 35 that, for as busy as I am, for as difficult as it will be, for as much of a stretch as it is to want to get some of those things done, I really want to get some of those things done this year. So that's what's on my mind today. That's what I'm thinking about. I'm in the courtesy car. You don't know this, but Mercedes have been trying for the best part of 6 months to fix the most annoying fault in my car. So I got my car when it was basically brand new. And when it's connected to CarPlay and I'm on the phone, there's a speaker up here and a speaker over there. And I couldn't hear any interference on my end. The noise wasn't in the car, but whoever I'm on the phone to can hear this endless, very high pitch squeak over me, which makes work calls really difficult. I mean, shit, it makes any calls really difficult. But when I'm on the road, having to work, having to talk to people, that squeak has bothered me so much. So it's been in and out of Mercedes, I think 5 times now, for them to get to the bottom of it. And each time they've said, oh, well, we can't hear it, so it mustn't be a problem. Have you tried switching your phone? Yes. Have you tried switching your cable? Yes. Have you tried doing wired CarPlay? Yes. Obviously, I've done all of this. I think it's some sort of electromagnetic field interference. I don't know what that means really, but I read it on the internet and it seems to make sense, which when you do power steering, the steering module is giving off some sort of like electric pulse signal to the car computer, and something somewhere along the line is picking that up. Finally, today I got a call from Mercedes and they said that their engineers have managed to hear the noise. I'm not going mad. They're not gaslighting me. They can hear the noise. So they've ordered a bunch of different parts, like an antenna and some wiring and a new central control system. I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention. I was busy. They're going to replace a bunch of stuff. So actually I like this courtesy car. Actually, I picked it up yesterday and it is identical to my car and it's in blue and it looks really good. So I'm enjoying putting miles on a car that isn't mine and driving around in a nice blue car. But hopefully I should be able to pick up my car on Friday and it'd be fixed. And also the washer wiper things on my car, the fluidy spurty out thing stopped working, so they're going to fix that as well. God, this was a random update, wasn't it? Anyway, I'm going to go get a Nando's. Have I already told you that? I can't remember. I don't know, but that's what I'm going to do. Can't be bothered cooking. Going to go get a Nando's. And then, I don't know. I was going to do some podcast guest outreach. Don't think I will tonight, to be honest. I am shattered. I had next to no sleep Sunday into Monday, then next to no sleep Monday into Tuesday. Last night had such good sleep, just was knocked out for 9 hours. That was good, but still tired. Don't think I want to carry on working at like 8 p.m, half 8 by the time I get back. So I think I'll just sit in bed, do nothing, and I'll catch up with you tomorrow. See you then. Okay, it's Friday afternoon. I didn't film yesterday, was too busy, but worked and then went for food with my mum and then drove back to Cardiff. Got here about 1 a.m, had a good sleep, went to Mercedes this morning, picked up the car. They think they fixed it, and people I've spoken to on the phone so far haven't heard the buzzing, the ringing, whatever you'd call it, so that's good news. And then I've actually been in the office on my own today, so tomorrow is when we move across to the new office for the So Direct stuff. The internet here is still so slow, so I've had to be very selective about the work I tried to do today, because any sort of downloading, uploading, any sort of big files is just not working. But good news, there is Starlink going up on both this building and the So Direct office building today, which means that in theory on Monday, this office will have all the internet it needs to run a normal business. The office over the road will have everything it needs to be able to print, pack, post orders, all of that stuff. And yeah, I'm feeling okay. I am really tired after this week. I know I've mentioned it endlessly. I promise I'll stop talking about it, but the kind of shock of that fire and seeing the emotion of everybody around who was in that building and who have businesses they've lost, and then trying to cram essentially 4 days worth of work into 2, i.e. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, into just Wednesday and Thursday. Plus, I don't know, just lots of travel, having just got back from holiday, so I didn't get in from the airport till like 2 a.m. or 1 a.m, whatever it was. I don't know. It's been a long week. Just really tired. I slept through 7 missed calls yesterday morning. I've like never done that once ever, other than once when I was very drunk, like 10 years ago. I think that just shows how tired I've been. I'm looking forward to next week because it will be a new week and a new chance to do things with the momentum that I hoped this week would have had. But sometimes life has other ideas. I made the decision whilst filming this video, and what I'm about to tell you will be evident to you already, because somewhere down there you'll see this is on a different channel, that this style of video I want to host on a new YouTube channel, even if that channel never grows in subscriber base. Because I think this style of content and showing you behind the scenes of the businesses and the podcast and all of that stuff actually is very different to podcast episodes and like scripted, I never script them, YouTube videos. So in making that decision, and given that the effort required to film these videos at least is actually quite low, I'm going to try and do them on as many weeks as I can, because Patter, I think, is in the most interesting place it has been ever. Just the work we're doing is really good. I'm really proud of that. And I think that all of the advances in technology recently actually are in our favor, unlike most agencies and consultants. So I'm really excited for that. So Direct is just on a crazy trajectory right now. There is there's just endless stuff in the pipeline, and I'm gonna be very selective about what I tell you and when, because lots of it is commercially sensitive. Frankly, we're not the only people in this market. We're not the only player in this space. But the amount that we have already done, as I said the other day, but actually the amount that is like agreed and in the pipeline and coming soon, every month between now, which is June, and probably October, is a big month for us in one way or another. And then it's Black Friday, and then it's Christmas. So like, there's just so much going on. And I know the second half of this year is going to absolutely fly by. I think what you'll see tomorrow is very little, because it's going to be very manual, moving lots of equipment and stock and stuff over to another building. Not a great deal I can show you there. But in the meantime, I've got to print out a manifest for our Royal Mail pickup of today's orders that are about to go out the door. Then meeting someone here at 3 o'clock with them for about an hour and a half, tidying up, sorting things out before the weekend, and then back here early tomorrow to move some stuff over. So that's the plan. I will see you tomorrow. Okay, it's the end of day one of the office move. Lots of stuff has been in that van. From over here to in here, all of the big bulky stuff is done. The printers are in, the desks and all the stuff that needs to be over there is in, but nothing is networked in yet because Starlink only got put up on both the buildings today, and also nothing's like plugged in or wired in. So need to come back here tomorrow for us to make that building operational for the printing and packing and stuff on Monday morning, because of course there will be lots of orders this weekend that need to be produced and posted on Monday morning. And then as for the Patter office, we decided to kill two birds with one stone. So we're taking all of the space that we just won back and making it nice again, right? Like we used to have it. Big brand new sofa, nice rug, coffee table, seating, that kind of stuff. And tomorrow's task, after I've done a few work bits that I need to do in the morning, is to come here probably about 4 p.m, finish off over there, make it nice in here, and then hopefully Monday morning the Starlinks, which are on the back of these buildings, will be networked in, allowing us to get back online and run both of the businesses with a slight bit more normality. So I'll be back here tomorrow to finish off. Sorry that I haven't really given you an update today. I have just been carrying and moving lots of stuff onto and off of that Luton van, going to IKEA, building furniture, moving printers, moving boxes, moving stock, moving supplies. Tomorrow is the day where it all comes together. So I'll catch up with you tomorrow to let you know how that all goes, and then have a little chat before the end of the week, and then do another one of these next week, because like I said yesterday, I really want to get into the habit of doing these videos. So that's the plan. I am off to the cinema to watch Obsession, I think it's called. Everyone's hyping about it, so that's my little evening off. I probably won't get in till about 1 a.m. because it's a late one, and then back here tomorrow after working in the apartment for the early part of the afternoon, finish off, and then wrap up the week. So that's the plan. See you tomorrow. I feel like every time I've spoken to you this week, I've looked knackered, but that is a sign of the week. It has been. It was my hope when I began the week on Monday. This would be a really productive week where I'd get all the momentum back and everything would go really well, and it would be like a great start for the second half of my year. And look, I got done the things I needed to, as I always say, right? Like, I will not negotiate on the non-negotiables. Things that need to get done always get done. But do I feel like this week had the sense of momentum I hoped it would? No. Did this week deliver on the potential that I thought it had? No. And it's strange because this video, this entire week of life starts and ends on that fire in a building, nothing to do with us, not really to do with us, like 2 hours into the working week, and the strangeness of that and everything that went on because of that, and then the lack of internet, and then having to just kind of pull together every day to get done the bare minimum that could be done in 2 internet businesses with no real internet in the office. And then this weekend, moving from the one office to the other, so that actually both offices were unoperational, and all of the kind of life admin stuff I would typically do on a Sunday, to feel like the week has accomplished something, to have a good starting point for the next week. I've just had no time for that this week. And so I'm closing out this week feeling a bit weird because I'm no less busy than I was at the beginning of the week. The list of things I need to get done in the next 1 to 2 weeks is smaller, but now I just have less time and less momentum for it. And so in many ways, the momentum that next week brings is even more important. Hoping that next week is one of those weeks where the conditions are there for me to just get on with it and thrive, and it's a busy week. We have a business partner in one of the businesses in Wales on Tuesday and Wednesday, so there's kind of a board meeting of sorts and lots of business planning, visiting a 3PL, visiting a couple of potential warehouse sites for So Direct, because the office we've just moved into, as I may have mentioned earlier in the week, is just not big enough for what we're going to need in a couple of months' time. Well, one of our clients is releasing their full year results next week, and we're quite actively involved in the web rollout of that through Pata. So that's going to be a very early morning. Going over the road tomorrow to view the apartment building again, probably sign and reserve an apartment over there, I'm thinking. So, and then obviously just all of the day-to-day running of the businesses. And then the following week, there are some guest episodes of the podcast for the first time in like 2 years being recorded. So I need to read some books and prep for that. And I just laid out my running stuff, the fitness habits that I so desperately want to get back on with after so long, that we're going to return this week. I'm going to return next week. So thanks for sticking around until the end of this video if you're here. This is a new style of video for me, and I'm not sure if there's any value in it. But if nothing else, I find it useful to think out loud like this. So here we are. If you want to see anything else in these videos that wouldn't make a giant heavy lift to film and edit, let me know. There'll be one next week. There'll be one for hopefully many weeks to come. I appreciate you. I'm going to go get in the shower and then go to bed. And I'll see you next week.